moving on to our speaker for today, that is Professor Waqar Ahmed. He is the past president of the Pakistan Society of Nephrology. He is the current chief of nephrology and professor of nephrology at Sheikh Zayed Hospital, Lahore, and has been running a very, very successful program that is the Pakistan Kidney Renal Registry, which is the PKRDS, which he will be introducing later on. Can I please request you to start with all this? Thank you.
For inviting me for this hot topic of diabetic nephropathy. लोग कहते हैं कि जी जंगल में मंगल। मैं जावेद अकरम साहब के मुतल्लिक़ भी कहूँगा कि जावेद अकरम साहब इस पर्सन के जिन्होंने कोविड के दौरान भी मंगल मना दिए। थैंक यू। In USRD data, that is the most जो सबसे authentic data of the kidney disease, that is the US renal data system in 2019 has documented that the total number of ESRD in 2017 that was 1,24,000, and out of these 1,24,000, 58,000 were because of the diabetes. And total number of patients on RRT, renal replacement therapy, that was 7,43,000, and out of these 2,87,000, that means slightly less than the half of the patients were because of the diabetic nephropathy. The higher incidence which is shown in USRD, that African Americans, Mexican Americans and the Native Americans having the higher incidence of diabetes and the diabetic nephropathy, and as a result higher incidence of ESRD because of diabetic nephropathy. In our own study, which was comprising of 210 patients, we have reported that 47% of Pakistan population is having end-stage renal disease because of diabetic nephropathy. The number of diabetic ESRD patients are increasing day by day because of increased prevalence of diabetes, especially the type 2 diabetes, improvement in the life expectancy of the diabetic. पहले ये होता था कि पेशेंट जो डायबिटिक के वो अर्ली स्टेजेस में मर जाते थे, so that they don't have the time कि उनके अंदर ESRD develop. But with the passage of time, their life expectancy is increasing, and they have the time to develop the ESRD because of the diabetic nephropathy. Previously, diabetic patients were not accepted for the renal replacement therapy, neither for the dialysis, hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis because of number of complications, nor for the transplantation. But now, majority of the centers are accepting these patients for the dialysis and for the transplantation. 20 to 30% of the diabetic patients develop the nephropathy. Type 2 diabetes account for 95% of the cases of diabetic nephropathy. After the start of the dialysis, the death rate is very high as compared to the non-diabetic population. 38% die within 2 years and 73% die on 5 years after start of the dialysis. So the death rate even after the start of the dialysis is much higher as compared to the non-diabetic ESRD patients. As far as the type 1 diabetic nephropathy and type 2 diabetic nephropathy is concerned, there are bit small differences. In type 1, 15 to 40% patients develop the proteinuria, and out of these 15 to 40%, 70 to 80% will develop the macroalbuminuria, and which will lead to ESRD in 20 years. There is strong correlation with the diabetic retinopathy, and the ESRD is 12 times as compared to the type 2 diabetes. In type 2 diabetes, 15 to 20% develop the proteinuria, and out of these 15 to 20% of all the patients, 20% will develop the macroalbuminuria, and which will lead to the end-stage renal disease. 28% patient may not have the diabetic nephropathy. So here is the strong correlation, there is a weak correlation of the diabetic retinopathy. Many patients have diabetic retinopathy at the time of diagnosis of the diabetes because of late diagnosis. Vasculopathy, which results into CVA, ischemic heart disease, and limb amputation, is very much common in type 2 diabetes. Once the patient develops the diabetic nephropathy, the rate of decline in GFR is similar in both type 1 diabetic nephropathy and type 2 diabetic nephropathy. And there are some common problems. These patients will get less dose of dialysis as compared to the non-diabetic ESRD patients. Why? They will get the less dose because of the fistula problem, because of the atopic neuropathy, because of frequent hypertension during the dialysis, which is not so much common in the non-diabetic patients. We all know the stages of the diabetes. In the stage 1, this is called as the hyperfiltration stage, and this starts with the start of the diabetes. Those patients who will develop the diabetic nephropathy, उन patients के अंदर ये diabetes के साथ ही ये stage develop हो जाती है. What occurs in this stage? There is hyperfiltration of the glomeruli. Even the patients का अगर उस वक्त GFR देखा जाए, maybe more than 170, 180, even up to 190. As a result, the glomeruli will be large on biopsy and the kidney size will be large. Stage 2 diabetic nephropathy, this is called as the silent stage, occurs in 2 to 5 years after diabetes. इनके अंदर GFR starts to decline. जो hyperfiltration जो 170-180 का GFR होता था, वो decline करने लग जाता, but still the GFR is higher than the normal stage. Here the basement membrane starts thick होने लग जाती है, and there is intermittent microalbuminuria. When there is stress, there is infection, there is uncontrolled blood sugar, exercise, लंबा अरसा खड़ा रहा है, there is intermittent microalbuminuria. You remove the stress, the microalbuminuria will disappear. Stage 3, the stage of microalbuminuria occurs after 6 to 15 years of the diabetes. Here there is persistent microalbuminuria. वहाँ पे microalbuminuria, which is defined as 20 to 200 microgram per minute or 30 to 300 milligram per 24 hour of albumin in 24 hours. ये persistent irrespective of the blood sugar, irrespective of the stress, और इस स्टेज के अंदर not only the GBM is going to thicken, but there is glomerular proliferation, जो glomerular mesangial proliferation है वो भी शुरू हो जाता है. And the stage 4 जो 15 से 20 साल के बाद स्टार्ट होती है, यहाँ पे microalbuminuria converts into the macroalbuminuria, the dipsticks become positive. यहाँ पे the other complications of the diabetes such as the diabetic retinopathy also start, hypertension शुरू हो जाता है और वहाँ पे macroalbuminuria हो गया और इसके साथ ही the GFR decline, even the normal stage से decline होने लगा. And the final stage which occurs at 20 to 25 years, this is called as the end stage or the stage 5 of the diabetic nephropathy. Now I am coming to the actual topic of my topic of the discussion, that is what is going on, what is the new researches in the diabetic nephropathy, how we can prevent the diabetic nephropathy. There are multiple mechanisms involved in the diabetic nephropathy. There are the hemodynamic pathways, metabolic pathways, inflammation, as the Dr. Khurshid has mentioned. There are a lot of inflammatory markers which are increased in the diabetes. These are involved in the diabetic nephropathy. There is defective autophagy and the genetic predisposition. हम देखते हैं कई दफ़ा पेशेंट्स का शुगर भी कंट्रोल नहीं होती, उनका HbA1c भी 11-12 के ऊपर, but even then they don't develop the diabetic nephropathy. But on the other hand, we have the people जहाँ पे उनका HbA1c is well controlled, 7 to 8 or 9, but even then they develop the diabetic nephropathy. That means some sort of genetic predisposition is involved. In the normal, we all know from our first year and second year MBBS knowledge that glucose is converted into 1,3-diphosphoglycerate with this pathway, and that these side pathways are normally blocked because there is no substrate. Glucose immediately converts into glucose 6-phosphate, glucose 6-phosphate immediately converts into fructose 6-phosphate. So there is no substrate for these side pathways in the normal circumstances. But in the diabetes, when the glucose is high, when the fructose 6-phosphate, these side pathways open up. As a result, these dangerous chemicals are produced in the body, and these inflammatory markers, metabolic markers take part in the diabetic nephropathy, such as the TGF-beta1, tumor necrosis factor, interleukins, tumor growth factor beta-1, and these all lead to the glomerular hypertrophy, tubular hypertrophy, renal hypertrophy, and these hypertrophies leads to the hyperfiltration, and when glomeruli को ज़्यादा काम करना पड़ेगा तो it will lead to the cirrhosis. So the metabolic pathway starts with the glucose, high fructose, side pathways today, or these metabolic factors are increased. In the hemodynamic pathway, nowadays the alternate hemodynamic pathway is getting the high tension, that the high tubular glucose leads to the high glucose in the tubules. This high glucose leads to the more sodium absorption from the tubules, and this will lead to less sodium presentation to the macular dense. With less sodium to presentation of the sodium to the macular densa will activate the renin-angiotensin system and some other less nitrous oxide and some less EDRF. जो वहाँ पे mechanism है, it will shift to the vasoconstrictive side rather than the vasodilatory side. In the presence of activation of the renin-angiotensin system, in the presence of systemic hypertension and hyperglycemia, both these leads to the increased intravascular volume. Increased intravascular volume in the presence of these local vasoactive amines will lead to increased intraglomerular hypertension, which cause the hyperfiltration, and this hyperfiltration in the presence of genetic predisposition will lead to the glycolization of the mesangium, glycolization of the arterial wall and protein. This glycolization of the albumin will trigger the mesangial proliferation, which leads to the mesangial expansion in the glomeruli, which I have already discussed, and later on the glomerulosclerosis and the CRF. There are a lot of inflammatory markers such as necrosis factor beta, interleukins, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and a lot of trials are going on to inhibit these inflammatory markers to prevent the diabetic nephropathy, which I will discuss later on. Genetic predisposition, as I have told briefly, we all know that the Lima Indians having higher incidence of the diabetic nephropathy in the world. They have the 14% of the diabetic chance of diabetic nephropathy if there is none of the parent having the proteinuria, and this percentage increases to 23% if one of the parent having the proteinuria, and 46% of incidence of diabetic nephropathy if both the parents having the proteinuria. That means some types of genetic predisposition is involved in the diabetic nephropathy. And the second thing, there is some sort of genetic polymorphism, and the polymorphism in the angiotensin II receptors gene and the angiotensin converting enzyme polymorphism. We all know कि हम लोग angiotensin converting drugs देते हैं, बाद लोगों के अंदर एकदम blood pressure fall होता है और उनकी creatinine एकदम rise करने लग जाती है. And in the other group of population, we give the angiotensin converting enzyme or the blocker drugs, and the response is minimum. That means there is some difference in the gene. So the genetic predisposition is an important factor as far as the So far, the established renoprotective strategies in diabetic nephropathy: the glycemic control, the blood pressure control, and the renin-angiotensin system inhibition. जितनी भी स्टडीज हुई हैं अभी तक, all studies agree, मैं उनके अंदर one by one नहीं जाना चाहूँगा, all the studies that the control of the blood sugar inhibit the at least prolongs the occurrence of the ESRD. उनके अंदर HbA1c का टारगेट तो डिफरेंट हो सकता है, but all the studies agree that for better control you can prevent, you can prolong the course of the diabetic nephropathy. But the majority of the studies 6 to 7 HbA1c. And one thing that the control of blood sugar is more important at the normal albuminuria stage. जब तक का प्रोटीन यूरिया नहीं हुआ है, जब तक का मैक्रो albuminuria, that means before the stage 3 and stage 4, the control of diabetes is the much important. उसके बाद भी ये important है, but वहाँ पे ब्लड प्रेशर का कंट्रोल ही उसको ओवरटेक कर रहा है. द कंट्रोल ऑफ हाइपरटेंशन, whatsoever the drug is used, कोई भी ड्रग यूज करें, बट द कंट्रोल ऑफ द ब्लड प्रेशर इज अगेन इम्पॉर्टेंट. बट इसका जो कंट्रोल ऑफ द ब्लड प्रेशर है, इसकी सिग्निफिकेंस मोर नॉट ओनली ऑन द इनिशियल स्टेज, बट इट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट व्हेन इट इज इन द माइक्रोअल्बुमिनुरिक स्टेज. Studies to कुछ 120 to 140, कुछ less than 120, but the control should be done, at least it must be less than 140. Now the third limb of the conventional strategies is the renin-angiotensin inhibition. Lot of studies, direct study, IRMA study, Marburg studies, Renal study, इन सब स्टडीज के अंदर के जी इनको either you one must use the angiotensin converting enzyme or angiotensin ये जो है receptor blocker. But एक चीज जो इसके अंदर जो अभी तक common है, that is the combination of these drugs. This is not, although it can further decrease the proteinuria, it can further prolong the course of diabetic nephropathy, but there is lot of complications of hyperkalemia, hypertension and the cerebrovascular accidents. So जितनी भी studies आई हैं उनके अंदर combination of the angiotensin ARBs and ACE inhibitors are discouraged. Initially एक trend आया था कि जिनको combination को करके we can prolong the एक दूसरे का further multiply कर सकते हैं, but further studies के जी को risk of hyperkalemia is much more. Now what are the new trials for this diabetic nephropathy? In the what one should keep in mind, the failure rate is 90% in the diabetic nephropathy, the new trial, because the heterogeneity of the disease, multifactorial pathogenicity, and the lack of specific early marker of diabetic nephropathy that precede the histopathological damage. हमारे पास कोई ऐसा मार्कर नहीं है अभी तक कि हम कह सकें कि ये जो लोग हैं जिनके अंदर डायबिटिक नेफ्रोपैथी होगी, इनके अंदर हम ये अर्ली इंटरवेंशन करके चेक करने की हो सकती है. अभी तक कोई ऐसा मार्कर नहीं है. In 2002, it was suggested that the rise in systolic blood pressure at sleep would identify the future case of diabetic nephropathy. I don't know कि ये आगे चल के ये प्रूफ हो सका है कि नहीं हो सका. It is in 2002. The new trial of diabetic nephropathy, drugs targeting the hemodynamic pathways, drugs targeting the metabolic pathways, and drugs targeting the inflammatory pathways. Inflammatory pathways के अंदर different drugs आई. ASCEND trial आया जिसके अंदर के ये जो जिससे आया था EDRF को प्रमोट कर रहा था. EDRF की प्रोडक्ट उसकी डिग्रेडेशन को improve. But the result was that although it was increasing the proteinuria, but there was lot of fluid and salt retention. As a result of there was CCL. So that this trial was failed in stage 3. ये जो लाल है ट्रायल्स को मैं यहाँ पे मेंशन करता हूँ, the red color is जो फेल हो चुके हैं. The yellow will be that still in trial, or green which has been fashioned into the clinical scenario. The SONAR trial again EDR को डिग्रेडेशन को ब्लॉक कर रहा है. This drug is in phase 3, but unfortunately they cannot register the target number of the patients in stage 3. So अभी तक ये ट्रायल 2018 से अभी तक चल रहा है. We are waiting for the final results कि अगर इसके ह्यूमन बीइंग के अंदर क्या रिजल्ट्स आते हैं. Now the sodium glucose co-transport inhibitor, we all know that these drugs is the newly introduced in the markets. They control the blood sugar by excretion in the kidney, but they also prevent the diabetic nephropathy. How they prevent the diabetic nephropathy? They prevent the sodium glucose co-transport. As a result, not only glucose is inhibited from the reabsorption, but the sodium is also inhibited from the reabsorption in the tubules. As a result, more sodium is delivered to the macular densa. So as a result, there is not activation of the RAS system, and there is less chance of renin-angiotensin activation and local vasoconstrictor hormones formation. So here drug is the newest drug which is introduced in the market, which prevent the hemodynamic mechanism to develop the diabetic nephropathy. DPP-4 inhibitor also has some sort of action which inhibit the glucose co-transportation from in the proximal tubule. Although we don't know the exact mechanism, but these drugs also are said that ये भी यहाँ पे एक्ट करती हैं और ये सोडियम की डिलीवरी को मैक्युलर डेंसा के ऊपर इंक्रीज कर देती है. This is the newest drug जो कि अभी चंद दिन पहले Finerenone, about 10 days back, the FDA has approved as a drug to prevent the diabetic nephropathy. This Finerenone is a non-steroidal selective mineralocorticoid receptor, just like the spironolactone. Spironolactone is called as a steroidal mineralocorticoid antagonist. This has a less selectivity for the receptors. It has proven to reduce the proteinuria. It is proven to reduce the cardiovascular mortality and has a less hyperkalemia compared to the spironolactone. जो spironolactone के अंदर जो था कि उसको RAS को इनहिबिट करते हुए कि जी वो hyperkalemia करके, इसके अंदर hyperkalemia के less chances हैं. Even in the few trials they have used it with the ACE inhibitors and the ARBs also. उनके अंदर भी इसका additional effect has also been found and the additional protective effect and without hyperkalemia. The metabolic drugs different has been tried, but उसके अंदर अभी तक कोई ऐसी ड्रग नहीं है जो metabolic pathway को इंटरफेयर करके अभी तक मार्केट में आ चुकी हो और जिसको FDA अप्रूव कर चुका हो. Aldolase reductase को इनहिबिट करने के लिए different drugs has been tried. GFAT enzymes inhibition has been stopped क्योंकि इसकी toxicity की वजह से इसको stop कर दिया गया. Advanced glycosylation product inhibition, pyridoxamine, that is the vitamin B12 derivatives, इसका AGP को inhibit करके इसके results awaiting है अभी. A GLP-4 inhibitor also said that ये tumor growth factor beta-1 को inhibit करती है. How they prevent the diabetic nephropathy hemodynamic pathway, which is proven, and they also prevent the tumor growth factor beta-1. इसके लिए ट्रायल्स अभी चल रही हैं कि इसके प्रूफ के लिए and we are still waiting the results. And in the anti-inflammatory pathways blockage, we have MMF, जो कि even we are using as an immunosuppressive drugs. We have the mTOR inhibitors and even the green tea. इसके भी ट्रायल्स चल रहे हैं कि जी अगर ये जो ट्यूमर नेक्रोसिस फैक्टर है उसको प्रिवेंट करके तो उसकी इन्फ्लेमेशन एंड लेटर ऑन द ग्लोमेरुलर सेक्टोसिस को रोक सके. So the take-home message of my talk is that diabetic nephropathy is a huge and growing problem. About half of the patients with end-stage renal disease are because of the diabetic nephropathy, and we all know that the treatment of the ESRD is very expensive. About 60 to 70,000 per month per patient is the cost of the current cost of the diabetes ESRD. How can we reduce the cost? The reduction of the cost is the preventive. And the incidence of diabetic nephropathy is increasing worldwide. Pathogenesis of diabetic nephropathy is multifactorial. And in the established mechanism to prevent the diabetic nephropathy, in the established manuals we have the glycemic control, blood pressure control, and renin-angiotensin system inhibition by the ACE inhibitor drugs, by the ARBs. And the lower treatment we had the DPP-4 inhibitors and newly added sodium glucose co-transport inhibitors, and the drug which has been added in this group is just 10 days back as the finerenone, which is the aldosterone inhibitor. And in the investigational drugs we have the pericalcitriol, xanthine oxidase inhibitor, tumor growth factor beta-1 antibodies, phosphodiesterase inhibitors, endothelin receptor antagonists. हो सकता है हम लोग की जिंदगी के अंदर इनमें से भी कोई ड्रग इसके अंदर है tumor necrosis. The one thing which I would like to add here, that if the patient is suffering from diabetes, we have to control the diabetes. But one drug from these DPP-4 inhibitors or sodium glucose transport 4 inhibitors should be added as a part of glucose control. आप कोई भी ड्रग उसके अंदर और भी दे दें, लेकिन इन दोनों में से to prevent the diabetic nephropathy में से एक चीज जरूर होनी चाहिए. You must control the blood pressure by any drug, लेकिन उसके अंदर एक ड्रग एटलीस्ट जो है वो रेनिन-एंजियोटेंसिन सिस्टम को इनहिबिट करने वाली जरूर होनी चाहिए. My mentor प्रोफेसर ताहिर शफी was saying कि वो यहाँ तक इसके शौकीन होते थे रेनिन-एंजियोटेंसिन और ज़ेस्टर वगैरह के, तो वो कहा करते थे कि जब इस तरीके से साल्ट के अंदर आयोडीन ऐड कर दी जाती है, अगर मेरा बस चले तो मैं साल्ट के अंदर कोई एंजियोटेंसिन ड्रग ऐड करवा दूँ ताकि एवरी पर्सन मे यूज द लो डोज ऑफ द रेनिन-एंजियोटेंसिन ड्रग. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you.